Sairam students, welcome to another class of English literature. This class is a continuation of our last class wherein we had begun with a new poem, The Tale of Custard the Dragon, written by Ogden Nash. So before we actually begin with the literary devices, let's have a short recap of what we did in our last class. We saw there was a girl, Belinda, who had 4 pets: ink, blink, mustard, and custard. And of all the pets that she had, they considered Custard to be a coward. Why? Because he would always ask for a safe cage. Then there was a time when a pirate entered their house. On seeing the pirate, everybody fled from the place. And who was the one who handled the pirate? It was the dragon. It was Custard. Now, in spite of this, everybody still felt that he was a coward, because after this entire thing, they said that, Mustard said that he would be had he not been confused, he would have been twice as brave as Custard. And Ink and Blink said that they would have been thrice as brave as Custard. To which Custard only agreed. He said, yes, you all are braver than me. So, what have we seen in this poem? That in this difficult situation, the one who was considered to be a coward was the one who handled the situation. So, now let's get started with the literary devices of the poem. Just keep a book and a pen handy to jot down the important points. We will see the rhyme scheme and figures of speech together. Okay? Look at the first stanza. Okay, let us see the rhyme scheme first. We have house, mouse, wagon, dragon. So it's going to be A, B, B. Clear? Now let's move on to the figures of speech of the first stanza. Repetition. Now look at the use of the word little. Little here, here again, then we have little over here, little over here, little over here, and little over here. So little house, little black kitten, little grey mouse, everything was little. Okay, so this figure of speech is repetition, where one word is repeated for poetic effect. Moving on to the next figure of speech, that is oxymoron. Now what's an oxymoron? Wherein two contradictory words are placed in the same line. We also have antithesis. But what's an antithesis? It's different from oxymoron. I'll tell you how. Look at this line. And realio, trulio, little pet dragon. Okay, here the word pet and dragon, they are placed next to each other. Yes, one we say a pet and then we say dragon. Dragon is wild. So again, two contradictory ideas. And if you see they are next to each other, yes, that makes it an oxymoron. They are just placed one after the other. Next figure of speech is anaphora. Now what's an anaphora? Repeated use of word at the start of two consecutive lines. And a. So two lines are starting with the same beginning. So the figure of speech is anaphora. I hope I'm very clear, and I hope you are jotting down all these points. Moving on to the next stanza. Again, let's see the rhyme scheme. Look at these 4 lines. The last 4 words. It's ink blink, mustard and custard. They sound similar. So the rhyme scheme is going to be AA, BB. Now, let's see the figures of speech. The first figure of speech that they are discussing is a simile. Now, what's a simile? When there is a direct comparison between two different objects using the word like and as. So, and a little yellow dog was as sharp as mustard. Okay, so there is a direct comparison between a dog and mustard. Okay, next is alliteration. Now, what's alliteration? When the sound of the first alphabet is repeated. Okay, but the dragon was a coward and she called him custard. The sound of C is repeated. Custard, coward. Okay, the sound of C is repeated. That makes it alliteration. Next again we have anaphora. What's an anaphora? Look at this. And the little, and the little grey mouse and the little. So can you see and the little is repeated? So that is anaphora. And then again the use of the word little we can see over here. So that is repetition. Clear? Moving on to the next stanza. Rhyme scheme again. Teeth, underneath, nose and toes. It's AA, BB. Again we have a simile over here. Dragon's mouth is compared with fireplace. Mouth like a fireplace. So there's a direct comparison between dragon's face, dragon's mouth and the fireplace. So that is simile. Then we have a metaphor. What's a metaphor? You know, implied comparison between two objects. Okay. Chimney for a nose. So your chimney is compared to nose, but it is not a direct comparison. Clear? So that is metaphor. Again, let's see the rhyme scheme. Bears, stairs, rage and cage. AA, BB. Again, alliteration. Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. The sound of B, B, B in Belinda, B in brave, again B in barrel and B of bears. That's repeated. That makes it alliteration. Then we have simile as well. Belinda's bravery is compared to that of a barrel full of bears. They are saying that she is very strong. Okay, so there is a direct comparison. Next, Mustard's bravery is compared to that of any angry tiger. Look at this line. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a rage. So there is a direct comparison between mustard and an angry tiger. Next we have assonance. Now what's an assonance? When there is repetition of the vowel sound. The 5 vowels that we have, A, E, I, O, U. Okay, so when those sounds are repeated, the figure of speech is assonance. Clear? Now look at this line. Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. I told you this is alliteration. It is an assonance as well. Okay, the sound of Belinda, A. Everywhere if you see the sound of A is repeated. One more very important thing, students, there are many assonants and consonants that you will find in this poem. Few I will discuss and others you will make a note of. Clear? Moving on to the next stanza. Let's see the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme is again A, B, unmerciful, Percival, wagon and dragon. Repetition, we have the word tickled him and tickled him. Okay, so these two words are repeated. That makes it a repetition. Then we have an allusion. What's an allusion? When we refer, now over here in this line, ink, blink and mustard, they rudely called him Percival. Okay, so what is happening over here? There's a reference to a person. Okay, and who is this person? Person is Percival. I told you that he was a knight. Okay, so here there is a reference to a person. So the figure of speech is allusion. Again, the very same line is a personification. How a personification? When inanimate objects are given human quality. Ink, blink, mustard, they rudely called him Percival. So here they are calling. So is that possible? No. So that figure of speech is personification. Clear? Next. Again the figure of speech. The rhyme scheme is A, B. House and mouse, A, age and cages, B. Then we have onomatopoeia. Okay. What is onomatopoeia? When a word indicates sound. Usage of sound words to create a dramatic effect. So which are the sound words over here? We have giggled and weak. They indicate sound. So that's onomatopoeia. Again, alliteration. Custard cried for a nice safe cage. The sound of C is repeated. Again, the very first line is a repetition, suddenly. Okay. Then what's the rhyme scheme? Again, A, B. Then consonants. The sound of consonant sound is repeated. Suddenly, they heard a nasty sound. The sound of S is repeated. Then onomatopoeia. Again, mustard growled. Okay, meouch. These two words, they indicate sound. So the figure of speech is onomatopoeia. Clear? Now, if you remember, while explaining the poem, I discussed with you the poetic license. Winda is for window, and really or truly is for real and true. So these poets have this license wherein they can, they can change the spelling of the words. So this makes it, this is another poetic device, that is poetic license. Next, again the rhyme scheme is right bright, wooden good. Alliteration. His beard was black. Sound of B is repeated. And then the way the pirate is described, it creates an image in our mind. Yes, he had one leg that was made of wood. Okay, he was holding a cutlass in his teeth. Okay, then he had a pistol in his left hand. So the moment I speak about all these things, Okay, you can visualize a pirate, entering the house. So it creates an image. The figure of speech is imagery. Proceeding further. Again, the rhyme scheme is AABB. The first line, help, help, is repetition. And then we have the next line, but mustard fled with a terrified yelp. So was the yelp terrified or was mustard terrified? Yes. So the figure of speech over here is transferred epithet. Okay, so what's an epithet? It's an adjective. From its original place, it is used, actually it should have been mustard was terrified, but instead of mustard, they're using it with yelp. So it's transferred from its original place to some other word in the same line. The figure of speech is transferred epithet. Yes, we have assonance also, but like I told you before, you will jot down the examples of assonance from the entire assonance and consonance from the entire poem. Moving ahead, the 10th stanza. Again, the rhyme scheme is AABB. We have engine, dungeon, squirm and worm. Simile, the sound of dragon, but up jumped custard, snorting like an engine. Again, there's a direct comparison. Okay, so the sound of dragon is compared to the sound of an engine. Clear? Clashed his tails like irons in dungeon. Okay, again, there's a direct comparison. Then, last line. He went at the pirate like a robin at a worm. So the way he attacked was similar to the way robin attacks a worm. So there's a direct comparison over here as well. Clear? Onomatopoeia, the use of the word clatter, clang, jangling. Okay, they indicate sound. So the figure of speech is onomatopoeia. Then we have imagery, the way it is expressed, the way the dragon, attacked the pirate. Okay, how nicely they have expressed this. So this creates an image in our mind. So the figure of speech is imagery. Again, let us see the rhyme scheme AABB. Alliteration for what? Gulped some grog. Again, sound of G is repeated. And imagery, how the pirate reacted. Okay, he was looking at Belinda's dragon. He gulped some grog. So he must have removed, you must have imagined this also. He must have removed, a flagon, and he must have gulped some grog. And then he must have fired 2 bullets. So all these things you could have imagined when I was explaining. And these lines created an image in your mind. So the figure of speech is imagery. Rhyme scheme again is AABB. Alliteration Y. Ink and blink in glee did guide it. The sound of GG. Assonance. Use of vowel sound. In between I have done it for you students. That is, look at this line. No one mourned for his pirate victim. So the sound of O. Okay. Ink and blink in glee did. So again, I. But presently upspoke mustard. Let us see the rhyme scheme. Mustard, flustered. AA, blink, think. BB, agree. Me is going to be CC. Okay. Again, if you see, these lines are the repetition of the first stanza and the fourth stanza. So the figures of speech continue to be the same. Clear? Now that's it for the literary devices of this poem. Quickly we will go through the value points. Jot them down, students, if you wish to. So that's it, students, for this session, and we are done with our poem, The Tale of Custard the Dragon. We'll catch up very soon. Till then, take care of yourself. Sai Ram and bye-bye.